Hi, so we are playing Seismic Assault Loam deck again, and I played many versions of this deck and trophied with a lot of these decks back from November when I created the DRC version of Assault Loam deck. And this 10 days ago, I got a trophy with Domain Loam version, more aggressive than this with lightning bolts, tribal flames, and similar. So after that, few people also trophied with a deck, and then I took it again and rearranged it a bit because I really wanted to play Chalice of the Void in this deck, and so I had to remove a Lightning Bolt, and with removal of Lightning Bolt also I removed the Tribal Flames and got into some more mid-range version of a deck that I last trophied with, but the core is definitely the same. You play your Life from the Loam, Vrans, Seismic Assault, Territorial Chaos, Scion of Dracos, also Seasoned Pyromancer instead of Tireless Tracker I played in last version. A Slogurk, two Slogurks are also there, and but added some other stuff because of the Chalice of the Void. Of course, Prismatic Endings replaced the bolts, and Omnath replaced the Ragavan. And the mana base stayed pretty much the same. I just added one Blood Crypt instead of one fetch to have more lands in a deck with basic land type, so I can fetch it with Omnath and get my mana. Okay, so Um, as I said, I have a video from the last list of domain. Uh, so just a second. But this one is very different. It's definitely far less aggressive than the previous version, and having access to prismatic ending means that you'll be better against a lot of matchups like being able to kill Amulet against Amulet Titan on turn one, uh, being able to gain life with Omnath against against Burn and other aggressive decks. It also provides a card draw, fast mana, and it's definitely a great fit in this deck where you already play a 5-color mana base. And this is a Seismic Assault deck with Life from the Loam, so creature good as Omnath with Landfall definitely fits good in this build. Additional two Seasoned Pyromancers, which we use to discard, which is very good in the deck because you often use Life from the Loam and Vren to get back your lands, so you always have uh, hand full of lands, so you can cast Seasoned Pyromancer just to discard those lands and get it back again with Loam or Vren, and it definitely is a kind of small synergy with Slogurk. Um, I ended up playing just a two slugger, couldn't find more space for the third one, but playing two feels okay. You actually just need one when you draw it late game with a Seismic Assault. It's definitely good and will probably win you the game on spot if it resolves. I'm still playing Territorial Cows and the Sign of Dracos, which adds substantial tempo and pressure for opponents, and these are definitely two best creatures that you play in domain decks. But also Chalice of the Void fits in pretty well with Scions, Cows, and domain strategy because you always fetch for Triumph turn one. So that's it. Playing definitely four Furies to be able, because I don't play any one drops except for ending. So uh, just being able to recover from fast starts from opponent until I can resolve my Seismic Assault or Omnath or just Kavus and Dracos, and that's it. So on Sideboard is definitely different than previous domain Loam version I played because it's more mid-rangey and I had to adjust it a bit. You have access to all colors, so you can build a pretty strong sideboard. I'm playing two Basidius on board, two in main. You bring them in when playing against artifact enchantments deck, and but also primarily against Blood Moon. Having four Basidiu in deck game two makes it very hard for opponent to resolve their Blood Moon without us destroying it. Also playing a Force of Figures for as additional artifact enchantment hate against decks very needed. Okay, so playing disputes in a deck like this over a Wheel of Summer mostly is just a better card. It's good against four color piles. It's good against Murktide deck. It's definitely a great sideboard card right now. So also playing two Teferis on sideboard uh, to fight Murktide, to fight control decks along with dispute and to fight, let's say, Living End when playing first and other Cascade decks. Okay, so playing Ashrak on sideboard primarily to hate Amulet Titan because um, I really often play against Amulet in the leagues, but it's also good against some other matchups like Living End when playing first, and also matchups that depend on tutoring. Um, so it can be a pretty good luck piece on turn three, um, where you just shut down your opponent's fetches and it can be really good. So other than that, playing of course tree endurance over other graveyard hate endurance is I think best for this deck, and it fits very good. Um, and of course, to terminate against the Murktide, against other creatures like Goyf that you can kill with your main. And it's also good against the Titan and really wide range of decks. Okay, so that's it. Playing 10 fetches, 2 triumphs, 2 basics, and all other lands are um, shocks, except for two Forgotten Caves, one Otawara, and two Procedures. Okay, so that's it. Let's go through the games. Oh, oh no, sorry. I had to reinstall. I had to reinstall my. I had to reinstall my MTGO, so I don't have previous matches. They all got deleted, unfortunately. Yeah, too bad. Um, totally forgot about that. So all the matches got deleted. I don't know if I can recover that somehow. I think I can't. We can go through the matches against Young Dingo. Okay, they played Yeskai Murktide and I was playing first. So I played the Territorial Cow on turn 2. That's definitely pretty good play against Murktide deck, but this is the Yeskai version. They have prismatic endings, and fortunately they didn't have it on turn 2, so it was pretty good for me. Um, I played my Loam to get back my lands and forgot the cave, but I used the Spell Pierce. It really didn't matter that much. But they had a good play, like with the fairy just bouncing my cow. So I just replayed the cow, drew another land, and that's it. So my opponent decided to kill my cow before attack phase, but they tapped in and I was able to cast my fury, just killed the fairy. So I was in a really okay position. They were probably finding some answers for fury or land probably. Didn't find it, so I was able to dredge my loam, play my seismic assault, which was lethal damage. I played my assault first in case they have spell pierce. Um, I didn't care for them countering Loam that much. Seismic Assault is definitely main spell we want to get through here. And that's it. They conceded. That was game one. Okay, so game two, definitely a bit trickier. Always when playing against Murktide. I just played my fetch, hold my dispute. So end of turn, I fetched for my triumph, of course. Um, played my Steam Vents again to hold dispute for iteration, something like that. Uh, okay, so I had okay hand. It wasn't anything brutal, but I had dispute protection for Scion of Draco, which is pretty important. They tried to counter here. I played my dispute, so that meant that I'm in a pretty good situation. Just having another Scion for next turn, and Seasoned Pyromancer, Prismatic Ending in hand. It's all pretty good. So I decided to play Seismic Assault kind of as a trap card because I wanted them to counter this. Um, they had Murktide, which was definitely a problem for me. So it was too much of a risk to play two Furies because they could counter the second one. That's why I decided to play my Fury, ditch a Seismic Assault, which wasn't very good in this situation. Because I was low on lands and didn't have my Vren, didn't have Loam, didn't have Slogurk, so I really wanted to ditch it, and that's why I traded for Fury, Scion, and the third card just to kill this Murktide Regent because it's definitely that was my only choice at this point. Um, but I was still in a very good position, and unfortunately they had another Murktide. Again, a big problem, but when I drew a second Pyromancer, I was sure I'm going to cast Pyromancer this turn, which meant that the kind of casting Fury cost me nothing. I just discarded my ending and drew two more cards. Omnath was obviously a very good draw, and I was still in kind of a good situation. I already killed the two Murktides, and it seemed like pretty good. But then they play the Jace, and of course, Jace brings so much advantage. They had only one card in hand, but unfortunately, it was a counter spell. And And next turn they had iteration on top, unfortunately, which is obviously the best card they could have at this point, and they just bounced my Pyromancer. Uh, and I tried to play my Omnath again, but they had another counter spell, so it was definitely putting me in a tough spot. Again, making another Jace ability, drawing another iteration. It was just very good draws for the opponent, so really couldn't do anything about it. I tried to play my Slogurk, but they at this point they had everything, and I conceded next turn. So time for game 3. So playing first is definitely great against this deck. Opponent played Ragavan on turn 1, but Ragavan does nothing when you play 5/5 creature on turn 2, and I just they had the dress down, and they definitely should have played it on their turn because it kills my cow, and then they will be able to just attack with Ragavan. At this point, I was using cow to remove the spells from their graveyard to cut them off Delirium, and just to remove as much instants and sorceries from their graveyard as I can. I decided to play my Fury at this point because I didn't want them to block with Dragaman and bolt my cow again. I just again used the cow to remove instants from their graveyard. That was pretty important at this point in case they draw Murktide, and I drew a land at the perfect time to be able to play Endurance on their upkeep just to remove their graveyard. Didn't want them definitely to play Murktide, so I just wanted to cast Endurance on their draw step before they draw a card. They had a removal for my Endurance, but that wasn't such a big deal at this point of the game. I drew my Omnath. And they only had one card in hand, so and 4 life, so definitely a good position for me. And they just played Ragavan for block, and I wanted to play Shellis before attack, so they can't block with Ragavan and then bolt my creature. So they of course had to jump Dragon here, and I still had another Endurance in graveyard, so I wanted to cast it before they get Delirium. They did draw Iteration, but it was kind of too late for them. Uh, it was definitely a pretty interesting league, pretty good games. At the end of game 4, some bug happened and I had to delete my MTGO and reinstall it. So all my games got lost except the last one. That's really unfortunate because games were pretty interesting and deck performed pretty good. Also, prior to this league, I had a 4-1 league, so total 9-1 score with this deck. I'm sorry that I can't show you more games with it, but I can say that the deck performs pretty good. 9-1 result says a lot about it, so I think this is a uh, pretty playable version of Assault Loam. Um, you obviously have a very good aggressive strategy with cows and scions, but also a very nice mid-range plan with Furies, Slogurks, your Seismic Loam, and also having access to Chalice of the Void makes it very good against Cascade decks. Also, Prismatic Ending solves a lot of problems deck may have against some matchups like Amulet, and just having all 5 colors in a deck means that Prismatic Ending can remove almost every permanent played in Magic. Okay, so that's it. Sideboard is also pretty good like this. I really like this sideboard. It has plan against almost everything played in modern right now, but again, it doesn't. It's it's like it doesn't play many one-offs in to be just able to hate everything. But I think when you play these 15 cards, it's enough hate for almost every modern archetype played right now. So that's it. Really sorry again that I wasn't able to show other matches, but we saw the last game against the Junk Dingo, which I won on his stream, and you could see how deck plays out against the controlish Yeskai Murktide deck. And that's it. I will probably do more videos with this deck in the future. This one is very short, um, but I just wanted to show this version uh, that it works really well. And it was just let me see. Yeah, this was it. I just recently finished this league with 5 wins for my 10th trophy. Okay, so that's the video about this league, but you can expect other videos soon. Okay, that's it. Bye.